Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Mark Keller. We're glad to have you with us. We've reached the midpoint of the regular season in high school sports, and we've got plenty to talk about with the Herald Mail Insiders this week on the show. First up, Bob Parcelletti is here to discuss high school football. He'll help us preview this week's big intra-county game between Williamsport and Boonesboro, a game we'll cover live for you here on Friday night. We'll also take a first look at the point standings in Class 1A West and 3A West and see how the local teams stack up so far. Next, Dan Kaufman has the scoop on high school volleyball. We had a big matchup between the two defending state champions from Washington County last week. Dan will tell us about that match and a couple of other schools that are making some noise. And we haven't talked a lot about soccer yet this season, but Kevin Dunleavy will help me fix that. Kevin will fill you in on the players who stood out so far this season and how things are shaping up as teams start to see the postseason approaching on the horizon. Hope that's enough to fill your plate for this week. Bob Parcelletti is here to get things started when Inside Sports returns right after this.
Cynthia Muller-Sullivan of Sullivan Select Real Estate has been recognized by Homelight in 3 categories: top overall producer, top seller's agent, and top agent that sells for more. Unlike other real estate venues, agents cannot pay to be recognized by Homelight. If you are considering the sale of your home, call Cynthia for a free market analysis, 301-988-5115. When it comes to real estate, select the best with Sullivan Select.
Thank you for seeing us so quickly. He's just unbearable when he's sick.
I'm glad that you came right into Meritus Urgent Care.
We have just what you need to feel better faster, young bear.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Meritus Urgent Care is located off Moggins Avenue on Creighton Boulevard. For more information, visit meritushealth.com/urgent care.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve Smart Wi-Fi.
Welcome back to Inside Sports, everybody. Going to talk high school football now with Herald Mail insider Bob Parcelletti. And Bob, will talk about our big game this week at the midpoint of the regular season already, week 5 of 9, and the big intra-county matchup this week, Williamsport traveling to Boonesboro. We'll have that one live for you here on Antietam Broadband this week. Williamsport winning 3 straight after losing to Manchester Valley, and they're on a roll right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, no disrespect to Hancock, but I think you have to look at last week's as just a stat filler for Williamsport. I mean, they were up big early, and there was really nothing getting in their way. But I've been very impressed with the way that they've played so far, because I've only really seen them once, but I've been very impressed with the way they played so far, because I think they're kind of athletic. I know that Coach Tim Small says they're young, and they are, but they have some key places where they have experience, and they're very, very athletic, and I think that takes away from the inexperience.
Well, yeah, slow start offensively. That we talked about that loss to Manchester Valley 21-9 in week 1, but they've really started to get things going offensively, and it's really centered around Taj Wagner.
He's night and day. I mean, last year he was really lost, I think, as far as it goes for playing football. And this year, I guess he, got himself confident, and he worked hard, and he looks at football as his way to success, no matter if it's in football or out of it. So he's really dedicated himself to do more in the game. And he's taken on the leadership role. He's the starting point of the offense. If he can run and get open and cause some havoc, it opens up everything, because everybody's got to pay attention to him.
He's had huge games against Smithsburg, St. James, and now Hancock in those 3 straight wins for the Wildcats. One of the things that I kind of noticed about the offense, they run the set that they're running out of mostly is with quarterback Jared Snow back in the shotgun, Wagner to one side of him and another back to the left. It's kind of almost an old throwback to the old T formation, but it also reminds me of the Catoctin offense, that kind of stacked offense, not quite as tight as Catoctin runs, But it gives them a lot of options in running that offense.
Well, and the big key is that Wagner's been able to break things. I mean, they're not like 70 and 80-yard runs, but they're 15, 20, 10, 15, 13-yard runs. And they're able to move the ball. I mean, I don't really think they're much of a big play offense, but they are a push it down the field and take it out in chunks type of offense. I think a little bit of what they don't need, though, a little more of is maybe some more finishing to what they do. But I mean, they're getting enough to get by, But yes, it's an offense that is run first, and then when Snow gets that chance to throw, he's made it good, and it makes everybody play honest.
Snow's having kind of a sneaky good year throwing the ball. He's had some good chemistry the last couple weeks with a couple different receivers. Against St. James, it was Logan Startzman. Last week against Hancock, it was Brady Neff. So the Wildcats getting a lot of people involved in the offense.
And that's a big key. I mean, the days of the elephant offense, where you got to hook the saddle to one guy and let him go. I mean, those are gone now. I mean, and the kids don't like to play that. They like to be running all over the field, and you kind of incorporate the two to try to get success, and the teams that do it do a lot better.
Let's look at Boonesboro, and I was kind of wondering, looking into this matchup, when the last time was that Boonesboro started 2-2. Well, the answer: this is the third year in a row that they've started 2-2. They've lost to Catoctin and Middletown each of the last 3 years now, so it's not a new situation for them, and probably not cause for panic for the Warriors just yet.
Well, there's work to be done. This is a very, very young team for them. They have, everything seems to roll around Ethan Halabenko for them. They have a new quarterback for the first time in 3 years, or 2 years. They've, they lost a lot of running back experience, and they lost receivers. So they're really starting sort of from scratch. If you look at their games, the 2 wins are 1-point wins. So, I mean, in those games, they're doing just enough to get by. And unlike some other Warrior teams, they can't get too far behind, it seems like. Against Catoctin, there was just too much of a lead for them to overcome, even though they got ahead. In the end, they got beat by, a couple nice plays. And against Middletown, they passed the ball all over the lot against them.
Well, defense has always been kind of a keystone for Boonesboro, but as you mentioned, Reese Poffenbarger, 306 yards, 4 touchdowns last week for Middletown against them. The Warriors right now allowing 30 points a game through 4 games. Is that cause for concern at this point?
I think it is a little bit, because that's not – it would be different if they had the offense of last year and given up 30 points. I mean, if you look, they're struggling to get to 30 points. I mean, they've won 20, I think it was 28-27. They've 21-20. They got 14 this week. They had 30-something against Catoctin, but they're struggling to get to 30 points. So it's kind of tough when you're allowing 30 points if you can't get to 30 points.
Right. Well, this is a big game for both teams. As you mentioned, Williamsport 3-1, Boonesboro 2-2. Kind of looking ahead to the playoffs already, and right now those teams, Williamsport is 4th, Boonesboro 5th in Class 1A West. If it ended now, they would face each other in the first round. So pretty big game for both teams here, right?
Yeah, I think so. For Williamsport, I think this is a game where it can make them turn the corner. For so many times, they've been knocked down the door and haven't been able to respond in a game of this sort. Well, something that really means a lot, because to get in a position where you can really be in the driver's seat, basically, in Washington County to be in the playoffs, this would be a game to do that. Now they have North down the road and that kind of stuff, but and bigger schools. But it's still a case that they could be in the driver's seat by winning this game. With Boonesboro, it's a case that you haven't been 2-3 in a long time either.
Right.
So, I think they might have been in the last couple of years once. I think they were 3-4 at one point or something like that. But, it's really, this could be a turning point for both schools.
Yeah, elsewhere in Class 1A West, Clear Spring right now sitting in the 8th spot. They got their first win of the season over James Buchanan last week. Smithsburg and Hancock on the outside looking in right now. South Hagerstown in 3A West, Bob, 3-1. They bounced back from their loss to Tuscarora and shut out Spring Mills. They're currently 3rd in 3A West behind Linganore and Rockville. The Rebels in pretty good shape right now.
Yeah, they're a pretty nice team. They're just, they're not real flashy, but they're a pretty nice team. They got a pretty solid defense, and they have a all hands on deck offense. It seems like somebody different is stepping up every week. So, I mean, as long as they can stay diverse and stay healthy, they could be a team to watch.
North Hagerstown right now is 10th in 3A West. They faced winless Athelton this week. They still have winless Hedgesville on the schedule, so we'll see how things can turn around for the Hubs. Bob, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll have Dan Kaufman next to talk high school volleyball right after this.
Hello, my name is Jim Gross, and I'm very involved in our local sports community, as you may have seen me on the volleyball court, the wrestling mat, or the softball field officiating sports. I'm also the broker and owner of Absolute Real Estate, as I've been making it easy for over 20 years in Washington County for people to buy and sell homes. Call me, Jim Gross, at 301-788-7888 for absolutely the best in savings and service, and ask me about my sports organization donation program.
Access to high-speed internet is critical for school-aged children. Since 2014, Antietam Broadband and Washington County Public Schools have partnered to connect students and families in need with low-cost, high-speed internet service at home. Every child deserves an opportunity to succeed. Ask your child's teacher for more information on the Antietam EduNet program. A message from Washington County Public Schools and Antietam Broadband.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We're going to talk high school volleyball now. Herald Mail insider Dan Kaufman is here. And Dan, big match last week, Williamsport against Clear Spring, two of the big three that we've been talking about so far this season, and Williamsport got it done against Clear Spring.
In 4 sets, mostly tight sets. Clear Spring also played well, and hats off to them. Williamsport really showed off its depth in this match. Mackenzie Pryor, who's really a blossoming sophomore and kind of the big name now with this club despite her youth, had 18 kills to lead the way. Everly Harsh, their freshman libero, had a big match with 17 digs, and I know that's part of the depth that Coach Karen Moyer is hoping to develop with this team. Her freshman really got it done in this match. Mackenzie Shank, their setter, with both 31 assists and 12 kills, which is a tremendous number of kills in her position. And then Lakin Michael, Reagan Morris, Allie Foltz, Loran Talton, all of these players are having significant contributions now. And that's how Williamsport draws it up every year. They want these 6 or 7 players all contributing, and they've got to feel good about where they're at this point in the season.
You know, the defending Class 2A champions, and as you said, it's kind of how they always draw it up. So things looking good for Williamsport going forward here?
Correct. I mean, obviously they had a tough match against Oakdale, a 5-set match that I think they also think was good for them. Those two teams could easily wind up meeting in the playoffs down the road, and there's 5 state titles in the last 7 years between those schools. There's other tough 2A competition as well in the region. But yeah, I mean, Williamsport, again, Clear Spring's a good team. They showed that in this match too. So Williamsport's got to be pleased.
Well, let's talk about Clear Spring. They're the defending 1A champion.
Yeah.
As you said, a close match. It went 4. 3 of those sets were very close. Right. Clear Spring has to feel pretty good coming out of this one.
Absolutely. I mean, they feel like 1A state favorites right now to me still. They already have a win over Smithsburg this year. They haven't played Boonesboro yet, but that'll be coming up soon. Oh, Boonesboro's 2A too, so that's changed. They've moved up this year. And they've got 2 players really hitting the ball very well in Olivia Kirby and Kylie McHenrick. They've got enough depth underneath it with their passing, their setting. They're a very strong team, and come the playoffs, they're going to be a very, very tough out for everybody.
Yeah, we're going to get a chance to see Clear Spring next week against North Hagerstown here on Antietam Broadband as well. So let's talk about North Hagerstown. Sure. Had their city rivalry game against South Hagerstown, an up-and-coming team that you talked about. North gets it done in this one in 3. How did that one go?
Well, it was a very tight first set. I believe it was 28-26 North in the first set there. And then North kind of gained a little more control and won the last 2 sets a little more handily. I've been impressed that, they had 3 key returning starters coming back in Drew Wallach, Chloe Coulter, and Katie Jordan. Now, Wallach and Coulter are kind of doing the same thing they've always done. Wallach's their big middle thumper, and Coulter's a really good, versatile offensive outside hitter and defensive back row defense. But Katie Jordan has switched roles this year. She's one of the setters in North's 6-2 set this year, and her all-around play against South really stood out to me. She had 15 assists, 8 kills, and 2 blocks, which tells me that she's getting it done all over the court this year, and I think she's really stepped up and made a big difference. They've got all the other girls. Ania Grantham and Armani Kenny had 6 kills each against South, so that's providing some offensive depth. Teams can't just key up on Drew Wallach and Chloe Coulter and Katie Jordan. They've got to watch out for some other areas. So overall, this depth that's coming together for North, again, I imagine they're pretty happy as well right now.
We mentioned Clear Spring defending 1A champions, Williamsport defending 2A champions. North is always in the mix in 3A. Sounds like pretty much the same thing again this year.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of continuing to grow, especially with those, again, with the depth pieces that they have. Aubrey Chamberlain is another setter on this team that's kind of developing. And, you know, if all those pieces come together in November, North is always there. So why doubt them?
Let's go to the private schools, and St. Maria Goretti off to a fast start. I guess at this point in the season, you can't really call it a start anymore, but a 9-1 start to the season for St. Maria Goretti, and they've been impressive so far.
Easily the best team they've had in the last 15 years, just going by my one-loss records from my time covering volleyball. And you know, there's pretty loud noise that this might be the best volleyball team Goretti's ever had. And it's the depth. I mean, Peyton Kirshner, Zoe King, Kyria Stubbs, Jade Stewart, all of these girls have had double-doubles recently, whether it was kills and digs, assists and digs, whatever the case may be. Their back row defense is playing absolutely phenomenal right now. They're averaging something like 25 digs a set over their last 3 or 4 matches. They've got offensive weapons. I mean, they're very, very good. Now, granted, they don't play the Williamsports and the Norse and, you know, that caliber of competition every day, but they're not playing nobodies. They've played the Eastern Panhandle teams and held their own. So, you know, they're having an outstanding season and deserve a lot of credit.
You wanted to point out one individual that's really stood out here recently, and that's out at Smithsburg. Tell us about her.
Yeah, Sydney Hammond, who was once Elizabeth Lund was out with an injury for the year. We knew that Sydney Hammond was going to have to step up and kind of become the number one, but I didn't see her having 42 kills in her last 7 sets. That is a humongous number. That's 6 kills per set in their recent matches. One of them was a 4-set win over Brunswick recently, where she had 26 kills in that match alone. She is stepping up big time, and again, don't sleep on Smithsburg in November. You never know where they're going to be, where some of this young depth that they have with the Domenico sisters and some of the other pieces, they're going to be a tough out. You know, Clear Spring's not going to forget about them for sure, but yeah, it's going to be competitive come November.
All right, Dan Kaufman, thanks a bunch, appreciate it. Stay with us, we'll have Kevin Dunleavy next to talk high school soccer.
Cynthia Muller-Sullivan of Sullivan Select Real Estate has been recognized by Homelight in 3 categories: Top Overall Producer, Top Seller's Agent, and Top Agent that sells for more. Unlike other real estate venues, agents cannot pay to be recognized by Homelight. If you are considering the sale of your home, call Cynthia for a free market analysis, 301-988-5115. When it comes to real estate, select the best with Sullivan Select.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve smart Wi-Fi.
Welcome back to Inside Sports. We go from volleyball to soccer now. Welcome back in Herald Mail insider Kevin Dunleavy. Kevin, good to have you with us again. And let's start on the boys' side and a big win for a team in their conference that they haven't had in a long time. St. James winning finally in the Mid-Atlantic Conference. Tell us about that.
Yeah, they've been so close. They've had a lot of ties, but it's been 9 years since they had won a game in the conference. And I'm not absolutely sure of this, but I think it's 97 games winless streak. So it was just a huge, weight off their shoulders now, and I think they can go forward with some confidence and believe they can win these games. And, it's a tough deal going down to D.C. in the afternoon. You're always playing in the afternoon on a weekday, and it's a long, tough commute having to deal with the Beltway, and it must be nice to finally win a game and, have a lot of youngsters in the lineup. You've got a lot of belief, or got to have a lot of belief that they can do this again and keep building the program.
The Saints with a 2-1 win over Murray, and it's not that they haven't won games outside of the conference over the years, but just haven't been able to get over the hump. Is the MAC that tough of a conference?
It's a really tough conference because the schools are very strong academically, and they draw a lot of international students. And to build a soccer program, international students are what you need. And St. James is the smallest school in the MAC, so that makes it hard for them to compete numbers wise. And there hasn't been a lot of tradition at the school. They've gone through a lot of coaches in the recent years, and that's probably hurt them a little bit. But with this win, they got a casual Monday where the kids weren't allowed or didn't have to wear their bow ties, and so they didn't have to look like Pee Wee Herman, I guess, which must have made them happy.
That's always a good thing. Well, congratulations to the Saints getting that weight off of their backs as well. Let's go from private to public and look at South Hagerstown. Their boys kind of up and down so far. Great start, down a little bit, but they got back on the winning track early this week.
Yeah, they beat Clear Spring, 1-0 win. That seems to be their formula. They don't give up goals in the games they've won, and they had come in on a 3-game losing streak, and Clear Spring had won 3 in a row. And that was really a big win for them to stay alive in the Tesla Cup. Both teams had one loss in the county, so that pretty much eliminates Clear Spring, I would think. And South, can now play on, and if they beat Boonesboro, they would have a shot at winning the Tesla Cup.
And certainly looking ahead, playoffs not too far down the road as well. Team that's not giving up a lot of goals certainly gives you a great opportunity in the playoffs as well, right?
Definitely. That seems to be the common thread between the best teams, and a lot of high-scoring teams. You kind of always have a, eyebrow raised, wondering how they're going to do in a close game, and they play a very tight, and their alignment is such that they often play 5 guys back. You rarely see that, in soccer, but it's really working for them.
Let's go over from boys to girls now, and kind of the same story on the girls' side with Smithsburg. A rough start for them, but they've gotten things going here lately after a 1-5 start to the season.
Yeah, they had some uncertainty at goalkeeper at the beginning of the year and had some really tough losses, some decisive games, but against really good quality teams, because that's how they prefer to get the team ready. They play as tough a schedule as they can, but. Kayla Ward, a freshman, has sort of emerged as their goalkeeper. In the last 3 games, she's had 21 saves and allowed 1 goal. You can't do much better than that. And they've beaten quality teams, Williamsport, Brunswick, and Walkersville, Tuesday night in an overtime game. Hannah Spinks had the game winner. So they're doing what they always do. It seems like, in September they probably have a losing record over the last 10 years or so, but they really get together, and that's a credit to the coaching staff. Bill Folks really knows what he's doing when it comes to getting his team ready and fixing things that are not working. They're doing following the same script.
Yeah, he's had success with that formula before there at Smithsburg. See how that plays out going through the rest of the season here. South Hagerstown as well, kind of a rough start for their girls. Beating North Hagerstown, though, kind of getting the ball rolling for them.
Yeah, they had started 0-4-1, and they beat North last week 3-1. Amy Kessler had a pair of goals, and like Smithsburg, they're getting great goalkeeping from not Amanda Freshour. It's Hannah Parmenter, who had 14 saves against Clear Spring last night, Tuesday night, in a 1-1 tie, and then 4 saves against North. 4 saves against North shows that they're playing pretty good defense, that they possess the ball pretty well against North, a quality team. So after a rough start, they've really gotten things together, and they've got a lot of veterans in the lineup, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull off some more big wins.
You've mentioned the Tesla Cup a couple times. So where do things stand? Let's start with the boys. How are things looking there? Got some big matches coming up here in the coming weeks.
Yeah, Boonesboro's the team to beat. They play Clear Spring on Monday. That'll be an interesting game. Boonesboro's the only team that hasn't lost to another county team. We're still kind of early trying to figure out where things are in the Tesla Cup standings, but it looks like if you have just one loss, you can still consider winning the thing. And I think Williamsport has just one loss in the county. And one other team, and it's not coming to my mind right now, but South. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and then the girls' standings. I think everyone's got a loss so far, so it's completely wide open. Anybody from South to really last year's winner, Clear Spring, could do it. Smithsburg seems like they're playing the best right now, so maybe they're the team to beat. But we've seen so far that anybody can beat anybody in the county, which is a neat situation, and a lot of parity and a lot of good play. It's not that the parity is just mediocrity; it's good teams.
It's been a while since Washington County has had that kind of parity, that kind of wide open feel to it, where almost anybody can beat anybody on a given night. It's got to make things exciting when you're going out to cover a match. Maybe not thinking, well, we know how this is going to turn out, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it like this. I've been covering soccer for 5 years in the county and have not seen it like this, where there's always been one or two doormats that really struggle and have some lopsided losses, but that's not the case this year.
Looking ahead to the playoffs, about 30 seconds left here. You see anybody sort of separating themselves at this point? Really looking strong with the postseason coming up?
I'm interested in seeing Boonesboro. They seem to be playing a different style this year. I haven't seen them to confirm that, but they're scoring a lot more. I guess they're probably playing a little more offensive-minded. And they've been a little inconsistent, but they've got so much talent. I think they're really dangerous, and it'll be interesting to see what they can do. On the boys' side, really want to see what South does, and then Williamsport being a 1A team now, it's really going to be interesting to see. They've got a losing record now, but I think they might be the favorite in their region or in their section. Now it's sectional play. That's right. Not regional.
All right. Kevin Dunleavy, thanks for being here with us. Stay with us. We'll wrap up the show right after this.
Introducing Antietam Smart Wi-Fi, the ultimate home networking solution. Smart Wi-Fi expands your wireless network and can eliminate Wi-Fi dead zones. Adding Smart Wi-Fi access points creates a Wi-Fi blanket for all of your devices, so you get consistent wireless internet speeds anywhere in your house. So go ahead and browse, game, and stream video in any room. Make the most of your internet with Smart Wi-Fi from Antietam Broadband. Smart homes deserve Smart Wi-Fi.
Hello, my name is Jim Gross, and I'm very involved in our local sports community, as you may have seen me on the volleyball court, the wrestling mat, or the softball field officiating sports. I'm also the broker and owner of Absolute Real Estate, as I've been making it easy for over 20 years in Washington County for people to buy and sell homes. Call me, Jim Gross, at 301-788-7888 for absolutely the best in savings and service, and ask me about my sports organization donation program.
Welcome back to the show. The Inside Sports Crew is excited to bring you a full schedule of live sports coverage coming up for you over the next few weeks. And I want to remind you where we're going to be and where you can find us. As Bob and I discussed earlier in the show, we'll have live coverage of Friday's football game between Williamsport and Boonesboro at Warrior Field. That's October 4th, a big game for both teams to kick off the second half of the regular season as they start their drive toward the postseason. Randy Longnecker joins me for the call. Pre-game begins at 6:45. Kickoff is at 7. And if you miss us live, we've got you covered. The game will replay on Channel 6 and 806 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Next week, we move from the gridiron to the gym for a couple weeks as we feature 3 of the top volleyball teams in Washington County. On Thursday, October 10th, it's the North Hagerstown Hubs playing the defending Class 1A state champion Clear Spring Blazers at Clear Spring. 1 week later, on Thursday, October 17th, we'll see the Hubs at home taking on the Williamsport Wildcats, the defending state champions in Class 2A. Letty Wilkes joins me to call the action on both volleyball matches. The start times on those are fluid because of JV matches that precede them, but look for them to begin around 6:30 p.m. Finally, on Friday, November 1st, we'll close out our live fall coverage back on the football field as Boonesboro travels up Route 66 to meet its rival, the Smithsburg Leopards, in the traditional season finale. Now, as I mentioned, there's a number of ways you can see those events. You can download the WCL TV on-the-go app for your mobile device or tablet on iOS or Android, and you can view our live stream of the events on Antietam Broadband's live stream page. Finally, don't forget to look us up on social media. On Twitter, we are at InsideSportsOL. On Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, it's at Inside Sports Now. My thanks to Bob Parcelletti, Dan Kaufman, and Kevin Dunleavy for being here today. And thank you, as always, for tuning in. We'll see you Friday night from Boonesboro and back here in the studio next week for another round of Inside Sports. Have a great weekend, everyone.